with us tonight?
Just happened to be in the neighborhood, Bob, and thought I'd stop by for a minute.
Well, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Good neighborhood, so
Right.
it's a good place to be.
We got a show on last 20 minutes. We're going to do a thing about the Fraserville mine explosion reunion they had down at Cold Creek Saturday down at Lake City. But we've got 30 minutes of this foolishness, so
So we can
40
run
minutes.
them out.
How did the shrine paper deal go?
It's going real good. We got
Still
crowded.
going?
Yeah, it's still going. I'll tell you why we're still going. But we did well out there at the stores and the places where we worked. However, this traffic thing coming through here, we had to put our
You wasn't able to waylay nobody at the stoplights.
we had to put our street we had to put the street thing off until after they got this cut around us.
So when you gonna hit the streets?
Hopefully the first and second of June.
You see
Okay.
how this works, Digger? You can go to,
Right.
you can go to ugtelevision
Right.
and see two different
That's
views.
me over
And
here.
I've got this commercial
Yeah.
on here. I'm gonna put
You get
Digger
over here and
propane
let
and
me get
stuff.
over here and get familiar
Get-
with Digger.
Got a phone call, Bob. Let your secretary get it.
Huh?
I'm gonna put some ads over here to go along with this
Hey.
too. I just learned how today.
Well,
Bob, if you ever answers his phone, we're gonna go back in business here. Better call back. He just turned you off.
I just turned him off.
If you want to talk to us, call us at 562-2676. That's it over here if you can see it. And
Right.
if not, we're going to talk to you.
Now, Digger, as you were telling us about your paper campaign.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I interrupted you.
okay, it went well for what time we got to put in on it. But due to this traffic thing here on the highway, excuse me, we had to put our street sale, we had to put it off because already there were some short tempers.
It might
No,
have been a
sir.
shooting the other way.
There were short tempers and various things. And if we would have got there with that traffic the way it was, nobody could have stopped to a give, and if they did, they'd have got run over.
What happened Sunday? Do you know traffic is backed up, stopped up tighter, and
Both ways.
yeah, and
There was some kind of
no mule, no
activity.
cheese.
That there was some kind of an activity here at Hunter's Branch.
I
And
know I started out and I couldn't get on the road and I just went home.
What, today?
no, that's
Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday, just about noontime.
Permit me, if you will, I won't tell everybody what I did to Digger the other day down at Food City. We went by and we gave Digger a contribution, got a paper, Elizabeth and I. And I went down, there was some fellas at the other door down there. I went down there, I said, look, I won't tell y'all, Digger Wilson is up on the other door up there selling his papers cheaper than you are.
Yeah, what'd they say?
They didn't know what to say.
He was trying to cutthroat me there, I believe,
Yeah.
but
Get a fight started.
yeah.
Yeah, I said, Digger Wilson's up there cutting your price. I said, he's selling his papers cheaper than you are.
Well, now the way we do that, Bob, is we're out there with our jugs and whatever you want to throw in for that
I know that.
for that paper. Well, that's
I know that.
solely up to the individual. And some throw in one, some throw in some change, some throw in a 10, 20,
Right,
and one throwed in a 50 the other day.
right.
And
That ain't about like the preacher. that was getting on this fella because he had a foul mouth. Bad to curse. So he finally got the fella coming to church, and going out, he's talking to the preacher and everything, and he said, appreciate you coming and everything, and appreciate you cleaning up your language and everything. He said, yeah, I was glad to do that. And says, oh, incidentally, I put $100 bill in the collection plate. Preacher said, the hell you did.
If the preacher was there when it was counted, he might have known the top of the tall story.
Hello, folks.
Got a little delay there.
What else is going on?
I just hard work.
Did
You got any of that there summer propane left?
I've got some spring and some summer
Have you
propane.
got 2 tanks down there, one for summer and one
I've
for
got-
winter, and then
that's-
blend them in the spring and
Right,
fall?
right. I've got both of them there.
That's just like California's gasoline requirements, same thing.
562-5444 right in the middle of the road somewhere.
All your propane needs right there.
Let me tell you something I heard. I heard where Pep Boys had this sale on the oil, do-it-yourself oil change.
Pep Boys
Yeah. Just $20.
for 5 quarts of oil and
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah, Pep Boys got it for $20, 5 quarts of oil, and the filter to fit your car. I would not go down here to Napa, because theirs is only $17.99 for 5 quarts of oil and an oil filter. And that's probably taking money out
Yeah,
of
you drive
Napa's.
to Knoxville and give them another $2.
Yeah, I'd give them another $2.
And I doubt if you come out ahead.
Right?
That's Napa across from IGA. Napa Auto Parts, 562-2429. No, 2529.
Or 562-9406.
I believe that's right.
All right, I think it is right, yeah. I don't think you would, if you dial that number, that you would be ordering any Rainbow biscuits.
No, you got to get them biscuits on site.
All right, you got to drive by the driveway through window.
Drive by, not through.
Fastest service east of the Mississippi, and probably west also.
It just depends on which direction you're going in.
Wonderful food on the inside, big old breakfast bar, or you can get a breakfast special for $2.99, 2 eggs, bacon or sausage, grits or gravy, a biscuit, and you're ready to go.
Bologna. You get bologna. You also get a bologna biscuit.
I don't
for
want to sell
$9.99.
that bologna out. Now, quit advertising that bologna. You won't have none if I go down there.
That bologna's pretty good fried. I forget to fry bologna at home, most because I ain't never got no bologna, but it's good.
All right?
My mother used to fry it and put it in a lunchbox, and that way it wouldn't spoil.
Right, there you go.
And it was right good. You get it kind of cooked a little bit overdone in the sunshine, and
Right?
go out there hungry and
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
But you get a fixing like that down at Rainbow Restaurant, go there and get a whole sack full of them bologna biscuits and feed the neighborhood.
I guarantee you can.
Make a happy neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like going and getting them there 12-cent hamburgers you used to have at Scotty's.
Yeah.
Just get you a sack full of them there bologna biscuits. That's right up above the speed hump dip, hump dip, hump dip.
All right, just right down there on the left. And if you continue going west on 63 or south on 25, whichever way the case may be, you're going to run into what is known as the Rusty Culvert, a place where when you're four-wheeling over in the mountains about Davies Creek, over there before you get to Smoky Junction, not too far from Stony Fork School, old school. You just drop into the Rusty Culvert. There'll be signs all up and down the road. You can get gas, motor oil, two-stroke oil. You can get something to repair your tires on those four-wheelers. Or you get drinks. You can get snacks. You can get candy, You can even get some beanie weenies. I think Siebert left me just a few cans of beanie weenies. I'm not all that sure. But you come on over. We're open sometimes on Friday, most of the times on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon over there for your four-wheeling pleasure. And if we can just get those four-wheelers start running off of propane, we'd have it made.
Well, now they do have some that runs on propane.
All of them would run off propane if we equip them.
And
I don't know exactly how do you go about mixing two-stroke oil in with that propane?
I don't know, but that pair of forklift I had run a whole lot better on propane than it does gas, but it wouldn't start sometimes. That wasn't following the propane. I couldn't figure out how to fix it, so I turned it into gas.
you was was done was freezing it up.
Yeah, that there thing, they wanted $600-700, and I didn't have that much in the forklift for a thing to make it work right.
Well, what it is you don't touch that accelerator. When you turn that propane on, you just turn that key on and hit that starter.
Yeah, that sounds good. Whenever some of the equipment's wore out, that don't work.
You know the city had to come back and level out some gravel today.
Yeah.
But you know, if that gravel had been brought in by Ridge Runner Trucking
They didn't
Company,
bring you none.
no. Well, I still got holes up there, but if it had been brought in by Ridge Runner Trucking Company, we wouldn't have them holes.
They're at 871-2410, ain't they?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe
I
that's
believe
right.
that is. 871-2410, that's Ridge Runner Trucking Company.
R-I-D-G-E-R-U-N-N-E-R, Ridge Runner. Yeah, 9406, it's wrote down right here. Now I've got two pair of glasses on, I can see it. That was Napa.
The first
Ridge Runner's 871-2410, and
Right.
they take care of your gravel needs.
The first pair of glasses he's got on is so he can see the second pair.
I lose my glasses if I ain't got my glasses with me. Well, this thing started out on a bad note and been going downhill ever since.
Well, going downhill, but one thing that
it'll
brings
get
up,
Hadn't been for Digger, it'd been a lost cause.
one thing that starts everything off on a good note, and you don't have to worry about having any potholes, and that's in Dixie Concrete.
I wish Dixie concrete my back lot, because I got stuck back there today.
Did you? Or back here behind
Yeah.
us? Well, you have to watch out. You get stuck on the far side of that one up there at my place, too.
Yeah. Looks like the city has done a better job than they built them
Well,
Marquette
they
homes.
ought to, if they'd contracted Ridge Runner.
I gotta get some more gravels. I gotta save up enough money to get some more gravels.
Right.
They're cheaper at Ridge Runner than they are anywhere else because they don't charge you much for delivering them.
That's
But I
exactly
still will
right.
have to do a little.
You can buy them cheaper from getting them through Ridge Runner than if you call the quarry and have them to deliver it.
We highly recommend Ridge Runner at 871-2410 for all your heavy haul dump truck needs.
Exactly. You know, I was talking to,
Over in Dixie Concrete, we was talking about Dixie Concrete.
Yeah,
We're
we
down yonder selling all them our concrete components. They do all that there
Right.
stuff. Anything to do with concrete, they experts. Got good prices, prompt, courteous service. They know what they're doing. They appreciate your business.
I was down here. I had the pleasure today of talking to our favorite governmentalist and environmentalist and greenbelt specialist.
Oh, how's he doing?
He's getting a little taste of
Environment
private
re-
enterprise.
TV.
Hello, Bob and Rodney. How are you doing?
Why, it's old Akbar. How you-
Akbar.
Yes, I heard that you were doing the TV show on the internet, so I figured I would call in and talk to you today as well.
Yeah, we got two views, baby.
Akbar, have we introduced you to Digger Wilson?
Is this the gas man?
Digger is our guest tonight. He's the gas man, and he's the guy that's selling Shrine papers, and he's just a generally pretty good feller. He can even cook a
I
little.
talked to him last TV show. You know, I
Yeah.
talked to Mr. Gas
That's
man.
right.
He was very nice.
So how you doing on your community outreach program, whatever it is?
Well, at the moment we are in a very sluggish spell. I have not been able to get out much. I have been at home, very sick in the tummy, as you would say.
Change of climate will do that to you.
Yes, the weather, it has not been very good around here lately.
You're more used to dry weather, I guess.
It's very dry and very hot, not very cold and humid, no.
Hey, let me ask you, do you have any problems with the mosquitoes and the grasshoppers getting up under your robes?
No, not at all. Actually, I eat a lot of the garlic. They say that if you eat garlic, it makes the mosquitoes and all the bugs go away.
I'd say garlic.
It's not like the smell of your sweat or something like that.
Man, smart, Bob.
Yeah, he outsmarts them grasshoppers.
Yes, the grasshoppers, if they got up under my burqa, it would not be very nice. Oh, goodness. But I was going to call and tell you one thing, though. My father, Nazim, he is telling me that the oil prices, they have went up and his sales have went down very badly. It's almost 10%. And it is very disappointing to me because that is my vacation money right there. I would not be able to do anything. I was going to go to the Caribbean.
You know, when I was talking with you the other day, Akbar, you agreed to do an in-person interview.
Well, let us see here. What would be a good day for me to come in and do the interview?
We'll get with you. We could do that on a Wednesday or a Thursday. A Thursday might be better, or a weekend.
That
You're
sounds very
gonna
good.
wear the traditional clothing of a man of the desert.
I'm not very sure at the moment. I may wear my burqa.
You know, I finally figured out he does favor Momar a little bit.
Did you see that guy over at the graduation that was... What do you think is going on there?
I didn't know.
They tried to tell me that's real. By the time they was done with watching the show, they decided I was right and it was a fake. I don't know who he was.
But I was going to ask you though, Bob, do you have the normal number that I call from? Because if not, I will not be able to talk to you. That is the only number I have.
Yeah, I don't know what he looks more like.
Wait a minute. What
Wait.
number? His phone number? Or?
Yes, the phone number I call in on the Wednesday show. I am calling from my best friend's cell phone. I am with him
Okay.
right now. We are out in
No.
the park.
You have to...
You want it for the television program?
Yes, I
Okay,
call in
okay,
from one number every Wednesday.
Oh, yeah,
It is the normal number.
that number's good on Wednesday. This number, Wednesday. This is a number for Tuesday, the one you just called.
Oh, no. What I am saying is you need to call me if you want for the interview,
Oh.
you know. Yes, my normal number that I call you with on the Wednesday.
Okay,
I
yes,
am
sir,
out
yes,
right
sir,
now
yes,
using
sir,
the
yes, sir.
cell phone that my friend has.
We'll do that on. I don't know I don't have caller ID here, but we will get your phone number and get connected, and we'll do an interview with you when you want to. Might be better.
Okay, doggy,
might-
that sounds good. I do have one more question before I get off here.
Okay.
Are you there? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. I was needing some gravel for my driveway. I have been having the muddy problems with all the rain, and I was needing some gravel. Who would be a good person to call? Because I do not have a whole lot of money, but I need something affordable.
Well, you call 871-2410. They'll take care of you.
Okie dokie. And who should I ask for when I call them?
Well, you just whoever answers, but Mike is the man that you'll probably talk to, or his
Okie dokie.
dispatching wife.
To make sure, this is not the Mike Stowinski, right? Because
No,
I do
no.
not want to call you.
No. This is a different Mike.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I do not want to talk
Oh,
to
this
Mike
one will
Stowinski
do what he
because I'm
says
afraid
he's gonna
that he
do.
would be very mad at me.
I think this guy was, he's more of
Little
maybe Welsh or Irish
A
descent.
little more honest.
Oh, okay. I am very worried that Mr. Stowinski would be mad at me because, you know, somebody said that I might be Mr. Mike Stowinski, and I got angry one night. You know, I don't want him to be angry at me, but I don't want to call him either because I do not want to get my booty chewed.
I don't think he has a dump truck, so you'll be all right.
Okie dokie. Well, I'll go ahead and let you get on with your show, okay?
Thank you, sir. Call back again.
Yeah.
Feliz Day.
See
Goodbye.
you.
You know, I can't decide whether Akbar looks. In some ways, he dresses like Muammar Gaddafi, but he looks more like Caleb Sheikh Mohammed.
He does, don't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come think of it.
Yeah.
We won't talk
And
about that.
we mean that complimentary, you know.
Yeah, for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'll throw something in there, fellas. We have got in that shrine paper.
Yes, sir.
We have got several local kids in there. In other words, we got that started several years ago, and we always feature at least 1, 2, or 3 local kids. So most of the kids that you'll see in that shrine paper, get it, read it. By all means, read it.
I saw that there little
Haley,
yeah, she's in there
Yeah.
last year, wasn't she?
she's in there this year.
And this year too.
Yeah,
I
she's
didn't
in
look at
there
the
this
paper.
year,
I got
yeah.
one, but I didn't look at it.
That goes to show you didn't read your paper.
Well,
right.
I didn't have. I had put it up on the dash. And
I've
then
read mine.
And then, well, I'm going to. I just ain't got.
I read the reading off of it.
But
I didn't have but one pair of glasses, and I couldn't see it.
But there is local kids, and we take care of the Campbell County Shrine Club takes care of from 75 to 150 kids at all times. Our caseload for Campbell and Claiborne counties, and we do the driving for them. Our caseload for the 2 counties is from 75 to 150. So we do stay busy of taking care of them little ones.
What is the number for Vital Care, Bob? 562?
562-9370.
Well, you know, what I was going to say is, the seems like that they're taking care of their customers so good that the other ambulance services are complaining.
Oh, they're complaining again?
Yeah, complaining because Vital Care is taking such good care of their customers.
And that they're not making
That
Any-
does kind of cast a bad light if you're not taking good care of your customers.
Matter
I
of
didn't
fact,
say they
Red,
wouldn't. I'm just saying that they complain because Vital Care is taking too good a care of their customers.
Well, yeah.
That's not saying that they don't take good care of their customers too now.
Right. Oh, well, it's a
Maybe it's
competition.
all that advertising they're doing with Wild Bob and Ronnie.
now they are back asking for more money because they are not making any money.
You know what?
They're not making enough to operate on.
If you need a ride to the hospital or anything that's got to do with the ambulance ride, you might want to call Vital Care of Campbell County at 562-9370. They're so good that the competition has to be subsidized. Just keep up with it.
That's true. That's
I
really
know it's
true. Well, dear, it's so much easier to go and ask more money than it is to operate efficiently.
I think, well, I ain't going to say what I think, but it seems crazy to me that we're paying one outfit and the other outfit's making money. Why couldn't we combine them all and let that one outfit take care of the whole thing? But that's just me, what I know.
Well, I started to tell you a while ago about our favorite environmentalist,
Yeah.
governmentalist,
Yeah.
greenbelt
Yeah.
expert. He's getting a little taste of private
Yeah.
enterprise.
How's he liking it?
At the about like we do, okay? And last night at the county commissioners meeting, somebody brought up the fact that to get into the scrapyard up there was a pull-off over on the right there. I don't know whether you're familiar with that, and I've heard a good sized little pull-off where people can kind of get off the road while they're waiting their turn to get in. And do you know our county commissioners come up with the idea that they would put a guardrail there to keep people from parking alongside the road?
That make for a lot of safe
Yeah,
things going on.
Sure, I mean, that makes a lot of sense when they don't have any guardrails on Hunter's Branch down there, and if you went over the bank there, you get killed. Now, I think that's exactly what the county ought to do, is use their guardrails up there to stifle private enterprise and private business. See, they're experts at that. You know, they're not worth a hoot about putting guardrails on a dangerous place, but they can use it to stop private enterprise from operating.
TV.
Hey!
Hey,
How you doing?
how are you?
Who's that? good-looking thing you got in the middle there.
Well, you must be confused. That in the middle is Digger. I'm the good-looking.
Every time you
Don't
put
you
Digger,
believe that?
every time you put Digger on, people quit asking for my autograph. They just want his.
I know just how you feel. They quit asking for mine too. Every time I put Bob on, they turn the television off.
Hey, did you hear about the county commission meeting Monday night?
Well, we're just talking about part of it. What else do you know?
The head of the Campbell County Ambulance Service wants them to shut down vital care.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
No, he actually, the head of the Campbell County Ambulance Service, you know, another socialist bureaucrat,
Yeah.
wanted the county commission to use the County Fires Act to shut down vital care.
Well, you know, they're putting up a guardrail out there because to keep people from using the side of the road to line up to get in the recycling place. The county's they're doing everything they can to put private people out of business.
Well, now,
Hear about Jellicoe City Council.
No, tell us about the city council. No, I know they're wanting people in the gas business to suck up.
They want to be able to tell somebody what they can charge or can't charge for gas. And
Whoever's got that app's a damn fool.
they claim that since they passed beer sales,
Yep.
that they're making a big profit off the beer, and now they don't need to make anything off the gas.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, government is going insane in this country.
well, now, I've been in business for 30 years, over 30 years, well over 30. And I know one thing. The people that dictates my price are the people I buy from.
I'm going to tell you something.
And the
If
reason...
you were in business 30 years and learned one thing, you did better than I did.
Well, now they don't tell me to go up or go down. They tell me what I'm going to pay, and then I determine the going up and going down.
I'll tell you something else. I was a pumping gas 55 years ago and standing on a water bucket to clean windshields.
And I was
And
buying
everybody that
that
sells gas earns every penny they make off of it. And them people up there that's a pencil pushing needs to get out and get an honest job and get off their lazy hind ends. I don't know who they are.
I'm going to tell you something. Every bit of this can be laid back to our school system, our government-owned and controlled, forced by law, criminal law, and by the point of a gun, that a child has to sit in that chair in a public school till he's 18 years old, whether he's learning anything or not, and they are not teaching anything about how to stand on your own 2 feet, how to go into business, how to make something out of yourself.
How to make change.
They're teaching people how to coast on the working man by ordering the working man around, telling him what he can do and can't do.
Let me tell you something else. The biggest problem is the people sitting at home and watching television or going and playing ball and not going down to Jacksboro or up to city council or up at the other Jellicoe, wherever, and telling them people, look, we're paying the bills and we don't like the way you're running the store.
People who are working for a living need to set their foot down, put a stop to this foolishness. I'm going to say something else. I heard our resident Podolak, Zelensky, I heard his name mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I want to say that this guy is a great American. You know, he came over here, he fought communism as a youth. He came to America, served in the American military when he wasn't even a citizen, applied for citizenship through legal means, earned his citizenship, and now he's a great American, a great conservative, who believes in American somebody from a foreign country knows more about the basic values of our country than somebody who spends 12 to 20 years in our educational system. Tell me how that happened.
Well, now I'll tell you, you were speaking of that. Now, of course, I wasn't in the service with the gentleman you're talking about, but I was in the service with several of those guys, and they volunteer for the U.S. Army and go through the basic training, the whole 9 yards, and they pull 4 years in the U.S. Army and or one of the services, because I mean I was in service with some of them, so I can. And then, if they honorably pull this 4 years, then they have been observed enough to be worthy of a citizenship in the United States. So now we got several of them that pulled their 4 years.
But Digger, why is it that somebody from a foreign country can understand what America stands for more than somebody who was born and raised in this country and spent 12 to 20 years in our educational system?
And I didn't learn too much in my educational system.
Well, now they're dumbing the kids down. They're teaching them that handout is the way. Now, these gentlemen that you're talking about, and ladies, there's some of them too, but these people you're talking about, they was raised up in these communist dog-eat-dog, and they've seen it, they've lived it, and they're sick of it, and they want a better life, so they come here, they work, and they do what's right, and then they go to work, and they always accomplish something because they work for it.
If 10% of the American people who cannot take care of themselves was supported by the 90% who would work, I can relate to that. But did you know a majority of Americans now are on the draw, being supported by a minority of working people? How long is that going to last?
Till they run out of our money.
Well, you know, China and these countries are going to quit loaning America money. And you know, all through history, printing money eventually failed. You know, it was proven in Germany in the 1920s. You know, they printed wheelbarrow. You take a wheelbarrow full of money to the store, the wheelbarrow was worth more than the money.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Uganda, they didn't put an amount on the $3 bill. They left it blank for you to fill in the amount when you bought something.
Yeah.
I mean, see what we're heading toward? I want one of them blank notes.
Well, now we're gonna have
I guarantee y'all own the country if I get one of them blank notes.
Now we're gonna have to go to work.
Own them out.
We are going to have to go to work, and that means these people that's on the take. And we got some people that's getting a check that are worthy, and they need it.
Well, I'm looking at 3 people on my computer screen. All 3 of them get their ass out of bed every morning, despite their age and illness and handicaps or whatever, and they get their ass to work. They hire people, they employ people, they contribute to the community.
Jerry?
They haul kids to hospitals in Lexington and Cincinnati.
I do that.
I thought you were talking about American Idol there.
Do what?
I thought you were talking about American Idol there. You got on that there Shriner thing.
Well, now, we do that now. I work 4.5 days a week, Jerry. Then on Monday, now I don't open my shop on Monday, but when I went back in there, I kept Monday open, and I do something for somebody who is not able to help themselves every Monday.
But you haven't been at my place on Monday.
No,
Well, you work, you should be able to take care of
We're gonna
yourself.
plant taters next Monday.
Will it be dry enough in the mud hole to,
No.
well, but anyway, now this is,
You know, we need, you know, I hate to say this, but I don't believe a man ought to be allowed to vote unless he owns property.
I think y'all have to take a test. And own property.
I think he ought to take a test and own property. I just,
I think y'all have to own a filling station for a little while.
Yeah, I think everybody ought. You know, I owned one. I owned a filling station back during the Jimmy Carter era.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you something about that.
I did
you
too.
can starve to death of doing that, Bob.
but that's absolutely amazing that people in our government who are supposed to be educated, highly placed bureaucrats, they want to shut down the private economy that actually pays their salary. They want to shut down the
Got bugs in
businesses
here.
that actually pay their way. I tell you what, guys, we're standing on a house of cards.
They call that socialist in this here United States.
I'll tell you what.
But
it
in
is.
Russia,
I'll tell you what it is. It's a return of Middle-Age feudalism from Europe. You know, when dukes and lords ran everything, and they used robber barons, the key word robber, to run all the highways, ports, government bureaucrats, offices, and everything. And that's what they want to be here now. And if America don't wake up and put a stop to this foolishness, thank God for you guys and your show. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Call again.
See ya.
We are going to do something a little different here. We're going to branch away on one of our screens. If you happen to be watching this, we are on two different channels. We're on, if you'll go to thefollownews.com and click the UG TV thing, you'll see two different screens. And one of them, we're going to break away here and do a little special video on the Praterville anniversary get-together and commemoration they had Saturday. It's part one. It's about 20 minutes long. And we're going to start it on the one channel, and we'll keep this foolishness up here for the duration of the 20-so minutes, and then we'll go to the house. So just bear with us, and if we leave you, we're on a different, just pick out whichever one you want to watch. We done talked about everybody, ain't we?
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that's watching.
We hadn't insulted everybody. We're going to.
And the kids have been doing.
Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and start, and that way we've still got some stragglers coming along, but they'll hear the noise, and they can be moving this way. The first part here is David R. Thomas was not one of the miners who died in the Fayetteville explosion, but he is a key character in the story. And I thought it would be worthwhile to start at his headstone because he provided so much information about the miners at that period of time. My name is Barry Thacker, and Carol Moore. It uses the poor old dumb coal miner stereotype. You know, that these miners were abused, that they were forced to work in the mines, but nothing could be farther from the truth. This was an opportunity for them for a new way of life. They chose this way of life out of their own initiative. And I think the best example of that is when their jobs were threatened by the convict lease system, they literally went to war with the state of Tennessee to protect their jobs. So again, nobody was forcing them to do this. And I'm starting here at David R. Thomas's headstone because he was one of the Welsh who came to this area after the Civil War. got to remember, Knoxville and the surrounding area was pretty well destroyed. And the community leaders at that time wanted to rebuild. And they looked around and said, what do we have to offer to bring capital to this area? And what the area had was natural resources. The coal for all of the industrial development came from here in Coal Creek. So it fits it's an important part of the story about the redevelopment of the area after the Civil War. But the community leaders of that day had a problem, and that was they didn't know who was going to do the coal. They didn't know who was going to do the actual mining. So what they did was they recruited experienced Welsh miners to come to this area. David R. Thomas was one of them. And why did the Welsh come here? Why did they look for this as an opportunity? Well, because for whatever reason, the English just did not like the Welsh. You've heard of New South Wales, the British penal colony. If the English had their way, they would have arrested all the Welsh, shipped them off to Australia. And so because is it too loud? Okay. Because of the way they were treated there, in 1847, British Parliament even went so far as to ban use of the Welsh language in Great Britain. And when it became a crime to practice in their native tongue, the Welsh said, we're out of here, and they came to America. And they saw this area of Tennessee as an area to develop because of the need for experienced miners. This is where they came. They started working in 1876 in a little mine of the Knoxville Iron Company, and at that point there were between 100 and 150 Welsh miners. In fact, it was such a lucrative area that the state of Tennessee decided to get into the act and started leasing convicts to work in the mines because of the money that could be made. And the Welsh, many of them left the area after that. Some of them stayed and went to work in some of the other mines. David R. Thomas was an individual who first started working in the Knoxville Iron Company mine and then went to work in the Fraterville mine. And one thing that made him unique was his love for reading. And what he would collect, in fact, he got it from his father. His father started collecting Welsh books it was published in the Welsh language, but they were published in America. And the Welsh looked at their life in America as an obligation to preserve their native language and their native culture. Because remember, it was illegal to use their native language in Great Britain, but here they had the freedom to do that. So they wrote books in the Welsh language and published them, and David's father, Rhys R. Thomas, collected those books, and then his father passed those on to David, and then David eventually donated them to Harvard University. And I'm going to read the start of this book here. It's called The Welsh of Tennessee. It says, over 300 Welsh language books and pamphlets were published in the United States during the 19th century, and close to half of those are included in the Celtic book collection at Harvard's Widener University. It says, as prominent as many such previous owners were, hardly anything is known of the individual whose name appears most frequently. And it goes on to talk about Rhys R. Thomas and David R. Thomas. And why they are important, again, is because they donated these books to Harvard, and Dr. Davies has translated those books into English. And it's the story of the miners of this area between the end of the Civil War and really until the Cross Mountain disaster. So from 1867 to 1911, it's told in the words of the coal miners. So it really is a fresh, contemporary account of the times from the men who lived there. One other thing while we're here, we had a field trip yesterday with the students at Briceville Elementary School, and I was telling them about an individual who was a school teacher back in 1894. And again, when you research history, I'd rather read what the individual wrote at the time rather than reading 100 years later what somebody's interpretation of what conditions were. So that's why the Welsh of Tennessee is such a valuable reference. Even if your family wasn't Welsh, it was written by Welsh miners, and those were the ones who trained the native Fraterville miners the art of coal mining. So therefore, it's a contemporary look of the times. Here's another one. This is a story by B. Rural Stout. He started out as a school teacher in Anderson County in the 1890s, and he later studied civil engineering and became general manager and director of Coal Creek Mining and Manufacturing Company. He retired from the company at the age of 88 and became its consulting engineer for life. He also wrote a book called Visions of Verse, and here's his story about being a school teacher in 1894. So for many of the Fraterville miners, some of them, they were students in 1894. Many of the other ones had children who were students in 1894. But here's a story that this individual wrote about being a teacher back at that time. And he said, when I was 17 years old, I started teaching school back in the Cumberland Mountains to find that the students, 5 of them grown and older than me, had whipped and run off 4 previous teachers. I knew there would be a showdown, so I made me a pointer that was as strong and heavy as a billiard cue in case I needed it. But I decided, if possible, on a wrestling trick at which I was very good, diving between one's legs and throwing it over my head. One day, Millard Duncan said, I guess this is about the time to find out who is boss around here, and made a lunge at me. In 3 seconds, he had gone over my head straight for a sharp-edged post, that post splitting his head. After he had received a dash of water from the school drinking gourd, he and everyone in school knew who was boss. I had no further trouble. So again, I love those kinds of stories because you're not reading what somebody thought about it 100 years later. You're reading what life was like at that period of time. So with this, what we're going to do is we're going to walk over to the circle here and have an additional part of the story. But one other thing about David R. Thomas, he retired from the Fraterville mine 3 months before it exploded. He was one of the individuals who provided testimony at the inquest, and he began his testimony by saying, I started working in the mines when my daddy carried me on his back. So with that, let's walk over to the large monument there at Miners Circle, and we'll continue the story. As I said, when we started the story over there, the well started out in 1867. 1877, state of Tennessee decided that they wanted to get in on the action and make money and lease convicts to work in the mines. For many years, a large percent of the state revenue in the state of Tennessee came from leasing convicts to work in coal mines. So you can see that the state had the incentive to keep that program going. But in 1891, additional convicts were brought to a mine in Briceville, and the miners said, that's enough. We're not going to put up with this anymore. So they met in a field. In fact, this book I was telling you about, The Welsh of Tennessee, shows the meeting that they had at Thistle Switch, and David R. Thomas is the gentleman standing up against the tree with a derby hat. But the miners got together, they came up with a plan as to how they were going to address the convict lease system. They surrounded the stockades, they captured the miners and the convicts and the guards. They marched them to the train depot in the town of Coal Creek, put them on a train to Knoxville, and then sent a telegram to the governor saying, you're not going to work convicts in Coal Creek anymore. Well, the governor couldn't put up with that, so he sent the military, the Tennessee National Guard. 2 weeks later, the miners again surrounded the convict stockades. This time they captured the convicts, the guards, and the soldiers that had been sent march them to the train depot in the town of Coal Creek, put them on a train to Knoxville, and then send another telegram to the governor saying, you're not going to work convicts in Coal Creek anymore. So that was the start of the Coal Creek War. So that's what I said. Nobody held guns to these miners' head, forcing them to work in the mine. To the contrary, they literally went to war to protect their jobs in the coal mines. Well, the miners lost the final battle of the Coal Creek War, but they won the war when the state of Tennessee, when the legislature decided to end convict leave. You know, and it wasn't that the state thought that there was a problem with the convict lease system, and whereas the miners did. Not only did it cost them their jobs, but the convicts weren't coal miners. They didn't know what they were doing, and as a result of it, many of the convicts died in mining accidents. But what the state did was they agreed to end the convict lease system because they found a better way to make money. The state bought land in Morgan County at Brushy Mountain and built Brushy Mountain Prison and coal mine. And for the next 40 years, the state of Tennessee was in the coal mining business using convicts as a source of labor. So it remained one of the main sources of revenue in the state of Tennessee until the late 1930s. But after the Coal Creek War, life was good in the area. New miners came in. They even built an opera house in Briceville. Built new schools, churches, roads. But then on May 19th, 1902, 110 years ago today, the mines grew still when the Fraterville mine exploded, killing over 216 men and boys. Now, that's what the newspaper said, that it was 216. But there's only 184 names on the monument there. And later on today, we will be visiting the Fraterville Itinerant Miners Cemetery, and I'll tell you the story of the other 32 that died but are not listed on the monument here. So here at the Miners Circle, originally the plan was to bury all of the miners here, but there was a problem during the interment, a disagreement, and finally several families decided to bury their kinfolk in other cemeteries. One of the stories was that there were 11 African American miners buried here, because not only did the Welsh teach native Tennesseans new mining skills, they taught African Americans new mining skills. In fact, the Welsh developed a particularly close relationship with the Welsh. They even practiced religion together in the same church at one point in time. So, and that's why 8 of the African American miners from Fraterville are buried in Welsh Cemetery in the Y community. But anyway, 89 miners are buried in concentric circles. What I would like for you to do is, in a minute, I want to hear from some of the descendants of the miners buried here. We have the Desern brothers over here. 5 Desern brothers died in the explosion. Bannister and his 3 sons died in the explosion in this cemetery. I believe there were 7 or 8 Wallaces. They were cousins, brothers and cousins in the Wallace family that died. Several Webbs who died in the explosion. But at this point, I'd like for some of the descendants of miners who are buried here in Leach Cemetery, I want to invite you to come forward and tell us a little bit about your family. And again, you might think, well, I don't know anything. Well, you might be surprised at what you know. When we had the 100th anniversary for the Cross Mountain mine disaster, we had an individual like that who didn't think that she knew much about her family. But what she did was, she said that when her family left this area, her mother made a charm bracelet with a piece of coal on it, and that she's had that for her entire life, and she's going to pass that down to her daughter. And her mother told her that you come from a coal mining family, and we don't want you ever to lose your heritage. So again, if you know stories like that, we would love to hear them. So anybody like to come up here and talk? Where's Louise? I'm sure Louise would like to talk to us. Come on up here, Louise. Now let's see, Louise. I think Louise is 47 years old, and come on back here.
I really am not prepared to talk, but I would like to say that if it hadn't been for Barry and Carol, I knew nothing about my heritage other than at 12 years of age my mother was orphaned, and she was sent to Illinois to live with an aunt, and she never wanted to talk about her father because, as Barry said back then, miners were considered poor, ignorant people, and that was the way that she was told, and that we thought for years, but we never were ashamed. We were proud that we had a grandfather who had had a good job during all those years, but she never talked much about her family until I became about, I guess I was about 9 or 10 years old, and we came back here, and we came up to this monument, and we'd walk up there, and we'd hold, my sister and I'd hold our hands over the names, but that's all it meant. It was that was all. My mother would be very sad. She would not talk on the way away from here. We never talked. So for years, I really never knew a thing about my grandfather. But now that they have started giving us information, it's been wonderful to know about a family that you didn't have, in such a wonderful family. And I am so proud to be a granddaughter in the Discern family, because I have found now that I do have a family, and that my children and my great-grandchildren, which I have 6 of, all know now. And I thank you, Fred, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. My family, a family that we're proud of. We've always been proud, but not to the extent that we are now, because my grandmother, with 5 caskets in her house at one time, she was a very strong woman, and that makes me feel like I'm going to be strong just like her too.
Anybody else have a miner buried here that would like to share something with us? Well, if not, what I would like for you to do is I would like for the families, the
They
descendants.
said it was come from him. And he said the rats had left the day before, left the mines, and they should have been known, not to go in, but they went in anyhow. And they brought them down to Lake City at the knitting mill and laid them out until they could get coffins from, they got everywhere around that they had to go and get coffins, because they didn't have enough in Lake City or Coal Creek to bury them. And that's about all I know about that I can come right up and say. Go, Terry. Right.
TV.